Hey everybody, it's another episode of the Uncanny Spirits Club, and we are off of our beer runs and we are back to the hard liquor. I'm sure everybody's pleased to hear me say that, or maybe you're not. I don't know. Anyway, um, today I have a bottle that I've been eyeing for a little while. Um, I just haven't dropped for it because I've been keeping. It's not expensive. I'm gonna say that. It's just I'm trying not to spend anything more than $20 usually these days. A lot of times, unless it's like a special thing, just because trying to keep the costs down. Um, this is done by one of the USA's premier and well sought after um, distilleries. It's called Uncle Nearest, which usually their usual bottles, not this one, are 50 to $60 for the cheaper ones, and then they go up. And these are the kind of bottles that the local people who are into whiskey sampling and collecting and the bourbon hunters and all that will wait in line for outside of liquor stores for deliveries of stuff like that. Now, I haven't had any Uncle Nearest. They have a couple other bottles up at my local grocery store, but they are $56 and 70 some dollars, and I'm not really looking to spend that much. This bottle is $29.99, and it's Nearest Green, 84 proof. Part of the issue is that the proof of the Uncle Nearest stuff is high proof. This is a lower proof, and as it says on the back of the bottle, it says discover the exceptional craftsmanship that has crowned Uncle Nearest the most awarded bourbon globally for 6 consecutive years through Nearest Green Tennessee whiskey, celebrating the godfather of Tennessee whiskey at a more approachable proof. So this was specifically put together at a lower proof, probably to get the cost down to get people into it, thinking if you like this, you might spend the big bucks for the other ones. Will it work on me? I don't know, but we'll have to see. I don't like to spend that kind of money on a whim these days. If I'm going to spend $60 on something, it's something that I already like, and it's a special treat that I have a little bit set aside for. Other than that, it's usually 30 and under, and usually it's even 20 or under. But $29.99 for this, and I'm interested. It's been up there multiple times, and this is the first time I've actually decided, yeah, I think I'm going to spring for it. The cork is kind of subtle, not much of a pop.
Is it a synthetic cork?
It looks synthetic, but it's got some pockmarks of an organic cork. So I think it might be organic, and it's just really, really new.
Mhm.
But
That's a synthetic cork.
a lot of times they do treat the synthetic ones with little like jabs and pokes and things to make them look authentic. I think so that you're, which I don't know. Again, we've talked about it before. I don't know what difference it makes, other than the organic ones tend to, after a long time, start to kind of disintegrate a little bit, whereas the synthetic ones don't. I don't think it affects the taste any, regardless of any particulates and whatnot. But if it bothers you, let me know. I would love to hear what people's opinions are. Nobody's ever gotten back to me and said, "Oh yeah, this synthetic corks are absolutely awful and they're destroying your experience." Okay, I don't know. Nobody's ever told me that, so I'm going to assume that it does absolutely nothing.
I prefer the synthetic cork because I've had several occasions where the organic cork has gotten little cork bits in me. So that's my 2 cents.
It has a nice brown sugary kind of bourbony smell. It's billed as a Tennessee whiskey rather than a bourbon, which there's a fine line between what differentiates Tennessee whiskey versus bourbon. There's some super specific things that make one not a bourbon. So, but it's close enough in my opinion. It smells like a good bourbon. A little bit of creaminess in there. It smells almost like a rye, a little bit. So it might have a high rye count in there. Pour a little bit there. A smidge more. Pour a little bit over here.
more.
There's one more.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to put that down there. Now it's called Nearest Green because that's what the distillery is called. It says bottled by Nearest Green Distillery, Shelbyville, Tennessee.
Mm.
So it's kind of like their entry-level flagship kind of thing, I suppose.
The bottle is pretty. I like the green.
It has a nice kind of spicy smell to it. It smells a little like there's some high rye in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it does smell like a bourbon. So there's definitely some bourbon notes in there, definitely some rye. So I'm interested. 84 proof, $29.99. Let's see where this takes us here. It's got a burn. It does have a burn. It's one of those sinkers straight down the chest. And it definitely has the Tennessee whiskey kind of taste quality. It reminds me a lot of other Tennessee specific whiskeys. It's got a bit of Jack Daniels kind of taste to it. It's got some other things.
I taste that brown sugar that you were
Yep.
smelling.
That's a good bourbon has a good kind of brown sugar sort of essence to it that you can smell and you can usually taste. And this also definitely has some rye spice in there. I think I got a good sniff out of it. You can't always trust what your nose tells you sometimes, because sometimes you'll smell something that's when you taste it, there's nothing at all coming through there. But this is pretty authentic to what I was smelling. I would be interested in finding out what the mash bill to this is, because if there wasn't a higher rye content than usual, I would be really surprised.
Yeah, it does definitely taste like a rye.
It's got high rye. It does have a bit higher amount of corn, I think, too, because I'm getting a little bit of hint of that as well. It reminds me of some things from Cedar Ridge that have a high corn mash. Um, definite, you're getting a definite hint of the barrel as well. It's definitely American oak barrel because that wood taste is coming through and it's not super strong yet. So this is probably a relatively young whiskey, probably 3 years at max, I would imagine. Um, and it is getting a good numbness on the tongue too. It's not as sharp as like a Jack Daniels would do, but the tongue is getting kind of like, or it might make it difficult to enunciate after a little bit of this. Not because of the proof going to your head, but because of your tongue getting kind of like, Let's have another one now that the palate has adjusted. Let's see what the follow-up is like. Mm. The second one has a bit more sourness to it. A little bit of fuminess that goes up to the roof of your mouth and up into the sinuses a little bit. And you lose a little bit of that rye, but you gain a little bit more of the corn, I think. So there's a few different things going on in here, and I kind of like it for $29.99. It's not my favorite in that price point. For a few bucks more at $34.99, you can get Cedar Ridge, which I think is superior to this. But this isn't bad. And it does have those Tennessee whiskey kind of qualities where it reminds you a little bit of things like Jack Daniels and stuff like that, where it kind of jabs at you a little bit. The second one didn't burn as much as the first one. The second one didn't sink quite as much into the chest, so that was nice as well.
Yeah, I thought the second one was more burny for me.
It's going to treat people different.
Mm-hmm. I am prone to heartburn though, so.
All in all, though, it's pretty solid. I can understand if this is what they're starting with. because it's the lower proof, and they're moving towards the higher proof stuff for the actual Uncle Nearest branded products, I can understand why people are after those because the extra time for the proof to develop and everything like that is going to affect this flavor more. And I have a feeling that the, the combined flavor and the kick you get from the higher proof stuff, I can see why that's pretty desirable, to be honest. Um, is it worth spending the extra money for? I don't know. Now I'm curious. I'm not going to rush out tomorrow and buy a $56 bottle and compare it right off the bat. But I think in the future, maybe with holiday money or something, if there's something to splurge, maybe a comparison could be made. Maybe do a versus video in the future. But we'll have to see. Um, but I can see, I think if I can make a prediction, I think I'll understand why people wait in line for the Uncle Nearest.
It's not my cup of whiskey.
Well, I mean, Tennessee whiskey is a very specific kind of set of tastes too. That's why people like Jack Daniels for what it is. There's a new Jack Daniels that I've been itching to try. It's like a 14-year-old Jack Daniels that's priced relatively affordable for something that old. And I'd be really interested in seeing how that changes the flavor because I like Gentleman Jack. It's better than regular Jack Daniels. It's more expensive, but it is better. It doesn't have as much sharpness. It doesn't attack you as much. I like some of their various single barrel bottled and bond things, but I would really like to see just what 14 years can do to a Tennessee whiskey because you don't usually get that. You get usually at the most 2 to 4 years.
See, and I dislike Jack whiskey. I was not impressed with the Gentleman Jack. Didn't like their holiday stuff. So you can enjoy that all to yourself. Maybe I'll try a sip. But
it's different tastes.
It just tastes like it tries to be too burny. Like it doesn't have the flavor to alcohol burn combination that I enjoy.
This is pretty impressive for what it is, though, I think. It's not, again, my favorite, and I think other things do better around this price point. Cedar Ridge is 34, like I mentioned already, and it's a little smoother at the risk of using the word smooth, and it's a little more defined in overall character. But this is decent. This isn't bad. So,
what did we have recently that was fairly inexpensive that I really liked? Do you remember?
It would have been before the beers.
Yes.
So let's go back, which means I probably have a video for it. If it's a comparison, it might be important to check.
I just was
because
bang for your buck. The one that we tried recently that I really liked, I think, was a good one.
Let's take a look. I always put the playlist down at the bottom for some reason. There's the beers. There was the Blackheart.
I was not a fan of the Blackheart. I tried.
We tried the Jameson Triple Triple, but that's an Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
We tried the Bumbu, which is another rum.
Which was my favorite.
Let's see, there's some more beers I did. There's the Drumshambo.
I don't remember. Maybe we didn't do a video of it because maybe it was one you'd had before.
Maybe.
That could have been it. And maybe I hadn't had it before, but I liked it. And I can't remember its name, but whatever it was pretty good and it was a good value for the money.
Yeah, which I do a lot of value things because, like I said, I'm interested in saving a little bit of money to continue my habit.
Now, I work hard so you can have nice booze. I said
So,
booze.
like, anyway, before this turns into a different kind of video, this is decent. Let me not get us kicked off of YouTube. Nearest Green Tennessee whiskey, 84 proof, $29.99 in the Ohio market right now, and I'm enjoying it. But I think it's worth. Actually, I think it is worth the price. I mean, this tastes like something that would probably fit in the $30 area. Other things in that area are better, but I can see why this would be priced that well. I'm not going to quibble about $5 here or there on this one. I have on other things before, but I think this one for $29.99 is probably pretty accurate. If it was more, I'd be a little bit more grouchy about it. And if it was less, I'd be ecstatic because I think that'd be insane to sell it for too much less than that. And I would buy a bunch of it. But
No, restraint.
but Nearest Green, 84 proof, $29.99 here in Ohio. Decent. I like it. It's a good introduction. Eventually, I'll see what all the hype is about with the Uncle Nearest and see how it compares to this bottle.
The bottle is pretty.
And it is a nice presentation.
If
I
the
like
other
it. It's
ones
a
aren't
classy bottle.
green, then
No, the green label is only on this one.
Well, then that one is the best one by default.
So that's it. I don't know what's next. I don't have anything particularly picked out at the moment, but you'll find out when I find out. So
Maybe I'll pick the next one, and it could be terrible.
we've had some duds.
We
I've picked
have.
some duds though in the past. So to be fair, I'm not going to put blame on somebody else. So we'll see you then. I'm going to enjoy this. And as always, cheers.